Ladies and gentlemen, we just witnessed one of the greatest performances of the past few years. In the Tauranga Twilight Meet taking place in New Zealand, we had one very special performance from the fastest 16-year-old that we have ever seen touch the track. It's Sam Ruth, and he has been on a tear over these past few months. He set the world record for the fastest 1500 ever run by a 16-year-old. He then ran a 13-minute and 40-second 5,000 meters, which just barely fell off the world record of Jakob Ingebrigtsen at 16. And in addition to these two recent records, he also became the youngest athlete to ever break 4 minutes for the mile in 2025, as he ran a 3:58 at just 15, and he also just ran a 1:46 for the 800 meters at 16 years old. Ruth is absolutely on fire right now, and at this point, I think it's safe to say that he is becoming one of the best teenage runners of all time. But now, he is back to attempt a brand new record once again, except this time, he is actually set to attempt this world record in the rain. As you can see from this video, graciously given to me by the Tauranga Twilight Meet, the conditions were not exactly ideal, and the rain was coming down fairly hard for much of this 1,000-meter world record attempt. But just look at how fast and how smooth Sam was running here. Now, the current 16-year-old world record for the 1K distance, which is also 2.5 laps of the track, is 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which would require a per-lap effort right at 56 seconds. But through the opening first 400 meters of this 1K record attempt, it was apparent that he was already on a much quicker tempo than the previous record.
Here they go through 400 meters, we're looking for a split, and it's 53, 54, they're on critical pace here,
Through this opening 400, Sam hit a time of 53.5, which is significantly faster than the time required to run a 220. And immediately after this opening lap, you can see here that Sam took the lead right away from the front pacer and challenged anyone else in the field to go after him. Now, it's worth mentioning that Sam was competing against some pretty respectable competition here, as the athlete right here in second is José Lacade from France, who's actually a D2 NCAA champion as well as a 1:46 800 runner. But at this point in the race, you can see just how smooth and how powerful Sam Ruth really is, making running a 53-second pace look way too easy. Now, after this 53.5 opening 400, Ruth's following lap was really just a solo run up front, pretty much like a time trial. I mean, nobody else in the field could even keep up through the 800 split. And through this 2-lap split, Ruth hit a time right at 1 minute and 48 seconds, which is pretty amazing by itself. But to run this en route to a 1K effort, Ruth really is getting ready to compete with the professionals.
200 meters to go, they go from the 800, 148!
Now, in order to break the 16-year-old age group world record, all that Sam needed to do was run a final 200 in 32 seconds or faster. And as you can pretty obviously see, he did this with remarkable ease. With an amazing final 100 meters and a solo effort win, he finished this 1,000-meter time trial in 2:17.82 seconds, which absolutely obliterated the age group world record by more than 2.5 seconds. But this time was actually also fast enough to take down the 17-year-old age group record. These two previous world records were set by Johan Boaks back in 1984, and the previous age group record for a 17-year-old was set by Stefan Ome back in 1981. So Ruth just took down two records that had stood for more than 40 years, which is just wild to think about. Whenever Sam hits the track, he is literally making history with each passing stride, and this 2:17.82 comes out to an average 200 clocking of 27.56 seconds for each half lap. Go out to a track right now and try to run just one 200 meters in 27.5. This is really, really fast, but Sam really did make it look quite easy on this day. In the history of the 1,000 meters for athletes from New Zealand, Ruth now ranks 5th all-time, only behind John Walker, Nick Willis, Peter Snell, and Rod Dixon, which is quite the remarkable list of athletes because all 4 of these runners in front of Sam here won Olympic medals, with John Walker and Peter Snell taking golds in the Olympic Games. And while Ruth is still more than a second away from Walker, Willis, and Snell, he's actually quite close to Rod Dixon's time, who won a bronze in the 1500 meters back in the 1972 Olympics in Munich, Germany. Now, granted, the 1,000 meters is not a very common distance run. In fact, many athletes never run this time, especially in their senior years. But the fact that we're even having this conversation with Ruth matched up against these Olympic legends is pretty wild. But honestly, that's the kind of talent that we're currently dealing with from Sam Ruth. Over the past year, Ruth has put together some of the most amazing times for a teenager that I have ever seen. But according to World Athletics at the moment, his best single performance from a scoring perspective comes from his 3:38 1500, which he ran in December of 2025. And for that performance, he scored 1,125. Now, this is clearly fast, and it was quite amazing to see from a 16-year-old. But don't forget, he ran this time 100% solo, and it was also in a qualification round. So there is just no denying that he could go much faster. But from this list, I was curious at just how high his new 1,000-meter record would score. It's not currently listed on the World Athletics page here, but if we download the World Athletics scoring table, we can see just how high this performance does in fact score. And according to this table, if we scroll down, we can see that a 217.82 scores right at 1,116 points, which is more or less the expected level of scoring based on his two times. But it is important to remember, Sam ran this time in the rain, which undoubtedly slowed him down a little bit. And just like his previous two performances of 146 in the 800 and 338 in the 15, he ran these times mostly by himself up front. If Sam can just get into some race with better competition and better pacers up front, I have no doubt in my mind that all of his personal bests are going to drop drastically. I am curious as to exactly how fast he could go, not just in the 1K distance, but in the 800 and in the 15. I would imagine he could get down to 334 to 335 right now in the 15, and probably under 145 with better pacing in the 800, which would certainly be amazing, but I really do believe that it's possible. However, the 16-year-old world record in the 800 is likely to stand through Sam Ruth, because that record stands at a ridiculous clocking of 142.27, as Cooper Lutkenhouse absolutely slayed in last year's national championships from the United States, running that time against some of the greatest 800 runners on the planet and still qualifying for the world champs. That was just wild. But back to Ruth for a minute. For his age, his range is already pretty historic. He's clearly got great speed from his 146 800, but his endurance is also proving to be quite lethal, as was made evident by his 13-minute and 40-second 5,000. And if we rewind to this race, it is very important to remember that he ran a 59-second final 400 for this new PB, so clearly he still had something left in the tank, given that he could drop his gears like this. I am beyond excited to see what this young man can do for the remainder of 2026. But above all else, I really just hope that he stays happy and also injury-free. I just want Sam Ruth to stay healthy and continue running with all the freedom in the world, because watching this young man compete right now is just amazing. So best wishes and best of luck to Sam Ruth through 2026 and beyond. And now I would love to hear from all of you about this new world record from a 16-year-old in the 1K distance. How amazing was this performance from Sam Ruth? And what do you think his best event will be moving forward? He's got the speed, he's got the endurance, does point to the mile or the 1500, but perhaps he's going to do something amazing in either a longer event or perhaps a shorter event. I just don't know. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time.